Hello everyone, so I am back with the second video of the video series on Class 6 Maths Knowing Numbers, and in this video we are going to learn about larger numbers. How do we deal with large numbers? Let's take a look. Let us now talk more about the larger numbers because it is more difficult, it is more challenging to deal or to handle the larger numbers. Now, as we have already discussed that any large number would have various positions of the digits, like the units place, tens place, hundreds place, thousands place, 10,000s, lakh, 10 lakh, crore, 10 crores, and so on. So let us look at an example of a large number. So here you have a large number which is like a 9-digit number. So here, which digit is at the units place, or units place is often also known as ones place. So 6 is at the units place, 7 at the tens place, 6 at hundreds place, thousands place, 10,000s place. This is at lakh, this is at 10 lakh, this is at crore, and so on. Now, why are these called as units place, tens place, hundreds place, and so on? Because when you actually look at the expansion of this number, you would always see that the units digit is multiplied by 1, the tens digit or the digit at the tens place is multiplied by 10, the digit at the hundreds place is multiplied by 100, thousands place is multiplied by 1000, and so on. So if you want to look at an example, so we will see by expanding this number. So when you actually expand this number, what happens? 6 is multiplied by 1 because 6 is at the units place. What about 7? 7 is multiplied by 10. 6 is multiplied by 100. 5 is multiplied by 1000. 2 is multiplied by 10,000. 6 is multiplied by 100,000. That is basically 10000. So basically you see, as you move this side, as you move from units place towards the crores place, the number of zeros keep increasing. So basically with 1, here you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So now you would have 6 zeros, 10 to the power 6. Here you would have 10 to the power 7. And finally here you would have 10 to the power 8. So you see the number of zeros kept increasing. And now when you actually add all of these, you get this number. Right? Like if you look at a smaller number like 676, you can very well write it as 6 into 100 plus 7 into 10 plus 6 into 1. And that's how you get 676. This would be 600, this would be 70, this would be 6. So 600 plus 70 plus 6 is 676. So this is how we expand a number. Now from this, we also see that there exists a relation between the digit at the tens place, the digit at the hundreds place, thousands place, and so on. So basically 110 is equal to 10 units, 100 is equal to 100 units, or 100 is equal to 10 tenths. So that's how the relation is, right? So for every place, so as you move each place, a zero increases. So if it is 1, here it is 10, here it is 100, here it is 1000, here it is 10,000, here it is 1 lakh, and so on. So with every place, there is 1 zero increasing. But always remember that the digit on the rightmost digit is the digit at the units place or ones place. So this is how we denote larger numbers, and once you have an idea about this, it becomes easier for you to name larger numbers. Because that was another challenge that we often faced, that how do we name larger numbers? Because it is very easy to say when you have something like this, 48. So you see, I told it very easily that this is 48. Similarly, if you have something like this, you very quickly say that this is 250. But instead of this, if I give you a number of 9 digits, instantly it might be difficult for you to name that number. So how do we name numbers? Now, in order to name numbers, it is very important that you know the position of each digit, because without knowing that, you will never be able to name numbers. So here on the screen, you see an example 71348. So this is at units place, 10, hundreds, thousands and 10,000s. Now, once you know this, then it becomes easier to name a number. So what do you have in the thousands place? So you have 7 in 10,000s and 71 and 1 in thousands. So that would mean that it is actually talking about 71,000. So this would be 71,000. And then what do you have in the hundreds place? You have 3. So 71,300. In the tens place, 4, which is going to be 48. Because 4 at the tens place, that means 4 into 10, which is nothing but 40, plus 8 into 1, which is 8. So this is 48. So overall it is 71,348. So this is how we will name this number. So let's look at another example. So this is a bigger number. So here you have it at units place, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Then what do you have? Lakhs and 10 lakhs. So you see, this is like a 7-digit number. So it's still bigger. So how do you name this? Now that you have done this, so this is at 10 lakhs. That means this has to be something like 54 lakhs, because both of these are lakhs. One is 10, one is 1 lakh, one is 10 lakhs. So basically this would be 54 lakhs, because 50 plus 4, that is 54. So this would be 54 lakhs. And how many thousands? It is 39 thousands, because these two represent thousands together. So this would be 39 thousands 810. So this would be 810. So we name this number as 54,39,810. Let's look at yet another number. This is a still bigger number. So unit, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, lakhs, 10 lakhs, crores. So this is how we have determined the position of the numbers. Now how do you write it? How many crores? 2 crores. So it starts with 2 crores. How many lakhs? 30 lakhs, because both of these represent lakhs. So this would be 30 lakhs. Thousands, 95 thousands. So this is 95 thousands. How many hundreds? 610. So this is 610. So this would be 2 crores 30 lakhs 95,610. So now I hope you understand that how do we name bigger numbers. So whenever you have a large number, first of all find the position of each of the digits. Now once you know the position, then it becomes very easy to write their names. So now we learn how to write larger numbers in Indian system of numeration. Now before that, what is this? Why do we have something like Indian system of numeration? Why do we need to know how to write numbers? Numbers is just about writing the digits. Well, not really, because when the number becomes very, very large, now as I told you that we learned how to name numbers. Now every time we do not have a pen and paper with us, that whenever we see a big number, we start, writing units, tens, hundreds and so on. So every time we do not have that. Now, is there any way by which we can represent number in such a way that it becomes easier for us to find out which part represents lakhs, which part represents thousands? Because if we are able to determine that, we will very quickly be able to tell the name of that number. So basically writing these larger numbers in a better way way would make it more convenient to read the numbers or to name the numbers for that matter. Now on the screen you see two big numbers or two large numbers, and instantly looking at the numbers you might not be able to tell their names because you first need to know the position of the digits. Only then you'll be able to tell the names. So to make things even simple, what is done is we make use of commas. Now where do we put the commas? Now there are some specific areas or specific places where we put commas, and then looking at the commas we can easily identify which digits represent thousands, which digit represents lakhs, which digits represent crores, and so on. And that makes this entire thing of reading larger numbers very easy. So we make use of commas to mark the thousands, lakhs, and crores, because see, units, tens, hundreds, till hundreds it is very easy because the 3-digit numbers, and I mean it's not even a large number as such. So only when it comes to the thousands you have a 5-digit number which starts becoming big. So the first comma that we put is for the thousands, because see here, this is your unit, this is tens, this is hundreds, and here you have your thousand, this is your 10,000, this is your lakh, and this is your 10 lakh. So what we do, we separate the thousands. So we put a comma here. So this comma will quickly tell us that okay, this represents the thousand part. We put another comma to separate the lakhs. Now let's say that even if we don't write this, even if I don't have this, but just looking at the comma you will be able to understand which part is thousand, which part is lakh. Isn't it? So now if I give you this figure, just looking at the first, wherever the first comma comes, now whenever I say first or second or third, it is always from this side, from your right side. So the first comma that you encounter is for the thousands. So here you see there are 2 digits for thousand, which means that it is 19,000. Again you have the next comma which is definitely for the lakhs, and here you have 78. So it is 78 lakhs 19,008. Right? Now if you still had a comma here, so that would mean that anything before that comma is going to be crores. Now let's look for this number. So for this number, units, tens, and hundreds, we do not need anything. So here we put a comma. Again after 2 places we put another comma. Again after 2 places we put another comma. So the moment I put comma like this, you instantly get to know that the digits that come immediately after the first comma, they represent the thousands. The next 2 digits represent the lakhs, and the next 2 digits represent the crores. So very quickly you can say that it is 87 crores, 16 lakhs, 25,676. So this is the convenience of putting the commas, because when you put the commas you know the thousands, lakhs, and the crores, and they are like kind of separated from each other. And that is why we follow this convention of writing larger numbers. That's why you would have seen that when somebody writes 500, they just write 500. But when somebody has to write 10,000, they write it like this, 10, 000. Because that very clearly tells that it is 10,000. Because let's say that somewhere it is written 1,000 and 10,000 and 100. Like this. Now, looking at them instantly, you might feel that, okay, you might get confused whether it is 10,000 or it is 100 or it is 1,000. But when you have a comma, that comma very clearly shows the number of zeros that you have. Because if you have to give, say, 100 rupee note to the shopkeeper, and by mistake if you give him 10,000 rupees, so that's like a huge difference between the two. So it is very important that we read the numbers appropriately, and that is why this convention is termed as the Indian system of numeration. Now, when we have something like Indian system of numeration, so then there also has to be something like the international system of numeration, which is like accepted globally, which can be understood by people throughout the world. Now, how is it different from Indian system of numeration? So let's have a quick look. So here, if you see, initially the positions are the same: units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. But after 10,000s, in the Indian system, we had something called lakhs. But in the international system, we do not have anything like lakhs. We have something like 100,000. So basically here in thousands, you have like 3 levels: 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. So we do not have the term lakhs at all. Then next we have million. million, 10 millions, again 100 millions, and then you have billions, again it will have 10 billions, 100 billions, and so on. So here the terminologies are a little different. Now since these terminologies are different, therefore the names of the numbers also changes. So let us look at an example. So let's say that we consider this number. Now we will see what would be the name of this number as per the Indian system and what would be the name of the number as per the international system, so that we can have an apple to apple comparison. So let us first look at the Indian system. Now as per the Indian system, how do you locate the position? Let's say this is units, tens, hundreds, this is thousands, this is 10,000s, this is lakhs, this is 10 lakhs, this is crores, and this is 10 crores. So if you have to put commas, basically you would put it something like this, right? So in this case, what would be the name of this number? It would be 87 crores, 16 lakhs, 25 thousands. Now you need to write it completely, but I'm just writing it in short. This will be 25,676. Now let us have a look at the international system. Now in the international system, this would still remain the units place, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Now what changes is, instead of lakh, this is going to be 100,000. This is going to be million, this is going to be 10 million, and this is going to be 100 million. So basically you have these three places representing million and these three places representing thousands. So when you have to write its name, it would be something like 871 million. So 871 millions 625 thousands 676. So you see there is quite a difference between the name of the same number as per the Indian system and the international system. So in Indian system, whatever we mean by 87 crores 16 lakhs 25,676 is the same as what we mean as 871 millions 625,676. So basically, if you try to establish a relationship between the Indian system of numeration and international system of numeration, you will find that 1 million is nothing but it is equal to 10 lakhs. So how do we know that? That's because when you look at this list, where you have 100,000 is where we have lakhs, and where you have million is where we have 10 lakhs. So from this we can conclude that 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. Now if you try to compare this two, you would actually see that 10 lakhs, wherever we have spoken about 16 lakhs. So that 16 lakhs, what is that? That goes into millions. So that's why here you see here you have something like 87 crores, which was actually 871 millions, because 1 million is 10 lakhs. Similarly, you can say that 1 billion, which is here, is actually equal to 1,000 million. That's because from billion to million, you will have to jump 3 places, 1, 2, and 3, and for every place you will have 1 0. So billion being a bigger amount, so 1 billion will be equal to 1,000 million, which would be nothing but 10,000 lakhs. So if you just remember 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs, I think you can establish a relationship between the Indian system of numeration and the international system. Now, often you would have come across the business page of the newspaper where it talks about that, okay, this company had a profit of say 25 billion or something like that, $450 billion and so on. So now you know what is that billion, because in our country we mostly use terms like crores, 50 crores, 100 crores, 1000 crores. We do not talk in billions. So that difference is because of this different systems of numeration. So now, based on whatever we have studied so far, let us try to attempt a few questions. Question number 1, fill in the blanks. Question number 1, fill in the blanks. 1 lakh is equal to dash 10 thousands. So how many 10 thousands make 1 lakh? So let us quickly remember the positions of various digits in a number. It starts with units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10 thousands, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, and so on. Now, for every one jump, there is a 10 involved, right? For every one jump. So for 10,000 to 1 lakh, so 1 lakh is a bigger number. So 1 lakh would be equal to 10,000. 1 million is equal to dash 100 thousands. Now, just now we had learned that what is 1 million? 1 million is nothing but 10 lakhs, right? And what is 10 lakhs? 10 lakhs is 1 lakh is basically 100,000. How do we write 1 lakh? 1 lakh is this. So this is 1 lakh, and this is how we write 100,000. So this is also called 100,000. It is just that this is Indian system of numeration and this is the international system. So basically 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. That means 1 million is equal to 10 thousands, because 1 lakh is 100,000. So this would be 10. 1 crore is equal to dash 10 lakhs. So when again you remember this, after 10 lakhs you have 1 crore. So again 1 crore and 10 lakhs, they again have just one jump in between. So this would be 10 lakhs. 1 crore is equal to dash million. Again, let's come back to million. So 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. So 1 million is 10 lakhs, and that is what we have to write. So 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. And what about 1 crore is equal to how many millions? So when it comes to 1 crore is again equal to 10 lakhs, right? Looking at this, you can say that 1 crore is equal to 10 lakhs and 10 lakhs is equal to 1 million, right? So 10 crores, so 1 crore would actually mean 10 million, right? Why? Looking at this and this. So here you see 1 crore is equal to 10 lakhs and 10 lakhs is equal to 1 million. So that means this 10 lakh can be replaced with 1 million. So you are left with 10 million. So 1 crore is equal to 10 million. So please understand these concepts. So the only thing that you need to remember is, one is this positioning should be remembered, and every time you are moving from right to left, for every one jump you just keep multiplying 10. That's pretty simple. And when it comes to million, just remember that 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. Everything else you can derive from this. Question number 2. Place commas correctly and write the numerals. So the first one is 73,75,307. So how do we write this? So let us start writing it from the units place. So let's say this is unit, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, lakhs, 10 lakhs, crores, 10 crores, and so on. So now for the first one, 73 lakhs. So where should this be placed? In the lakhs. So it is 73 lakhs, 75,000. So 75,000 in the thousands place, 307. Now, if you have to place the commas correctly, where should you place the commas? So the commas should separate the lakhs and the thousands from each other. So one comma after the lakhs, one comma after the thousands. And that's how we have written it in numeral. Let's look at the next one. 9 crore 5 lakh 41. So 9 crore. Where is crore? This is crore. So 9 crore 5 lakh. So 5 lakh. So here what would be in the 10 lakh place? This is going to be 0 because it is only 5 lakh. So this would be 05. And 41. So 41 would be in the tens and units place, right? So what about the thousands place? They are going to be 0. The hundreds place is also going to be 0. Now when you have to place the commas, where will you put the commas? They should separate the crores, lakhs and the thousands. So this is how you would place the commas. So let's have a look at the third one. 77 crore 52 lakh 21,302. So 7 crore. So again this would be here in the crores place. 52 lakhs. So this would come here. 52 lakhs. 21,000 would be here. 302. So this would be here. So this was pretty simple. Now that we have done the first two, the third one seems simple. So let's move ahead with the fourth one. 58,423,202. Now here, looking at this million, you can distinguish that it is not following the Indian system. It is following the international system. So in international system, how would the placing would be? It would be units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. But instead of lakh, you will have 100,000. Then you will have 1 million, then you will have 10 million, then you will have 100 million. So this would be different in the international system. So now we will consider this international system. It says 58 million. So this 58 million would come in the millions range. Now in the millions range, you have three things: 100 million, 10 million, 1 million. So this would fall in the range of 10 million because you have 58 million. So the 5 would be here, the 8 would be here. So this would make it 58 million. 423,000, that is 423,000. So here we again in thousands we have three places, right? So what are those three places that would be covered? 423,000. So this would be 423,000s. So all the 3,000s place has been covered. And then the last 202. So this would be 202. So this becomes 58,423,000s and 202. Right? Okay. Now let's look at the last one, which says 23 lakhs 30,010. 23 lakhs again from here, 23 lakhs 30,000 and 10. So 10 would be in the tens and units place. So the hundreds place will have a 0. So this is 23 lakh 30,010. So basically whenever you have to write in numerals, first you write down the positioning of the digits like unit, tens, hundreds, thousands, etc. Now depending on whether it is the Indian system or the international system, you write the positioning accordingly, and then just reading the name, you start putting the digits at their appropriate places. Question number 3. Insert commas suitably and write the names according to Indian system of numeration. Okay, so the first one, so it's a 8-digit number. So how do we place the commas appropriately? Now even before we place the commas appropriately, first let us position the digits correctly. So here we have 8, 7, 5, 9, 5, 7, 6, 2. So this is the units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, lakhs, 10 lakhs, crores. So this is the positioning. Now can you place the commas correctly? So we have to separate the crores from lakhs and the lakhs from the thousands and the thousands from the rest of them. So let's separate the crores, then let's separate the lakhs, then let's separate the thousands. So we have placed the commas correctly. So now it's very easy for you to write it. It is 8 crores 75 lakhs 95,000 762. Let's look at the second one. It says 8546283. So let's again position the digits, units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, lakhs, 10 lakhs. So this is a smaller digit as compared to the first one. So let's separate the lakhs and the thousands, and that's how we have placed the commas. So this would be 85 lakhs 46,000 283. So this is how we can name numerals. Doesn't matter how big they are. If we are able to position the digits correctly, then we will be able to do it appropriately. Question number 4. Insert commas suitably and write the names according to the International System of Numeration. So let's get started with the first one. It is 7, 8, 9, 2, 1, 0, 9, 2. So this is units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions. Right? Because we are following the international system now. So what it would be? Let's separate the millions. Then let's separate the thousands. And then we have the rest of it. So from this we see that it is 78 million and 921,092. So this would be 78 millions 921,000 and 92. Let's look at the next one. It is 7452283. So this is units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, million. So let's separate the millions and the thousands. So this becomes 7,452,000 because all these three fall under thousands. So 452,000 283. So this is how we named it as per the International System of Numeration. So now that we learned how to handle bigger numbers, now let us look at some applications of larger numbers. That how do we make use or where do we use such huge numbers? Now there are certain sectors where we often make use of such larger numbers. For example, when we talk about the population of a city. Forget about the population of a country or the population of the entire world. Even if you talk about the population of a small locality, you see that it turns out to be in thousands or in lakhs. When you talk about something in finance, money matters. You buy something, you save something, you buy a house, you buy a car, you do some savings in your bank. So you talk about huge numbers. You talk about something like 5 lakhs, 50 lakhs. You talk about huge numbers. You talk about sale in a shop, that okay, how many bundles of notebooks did the shopkeeper sell in a year? So that's again a huge number. Or how much profit or how much loss did the shopkeeper make? So there also you talk of huge numbers. You talk about distances, maybe the distance between two cities. So that's also again a big number. It's because two cities are not very near. Or if you talk about the distance between two countries, again, they are big numbers. You talk about weights, heavy weights. So there are a lot of places where we very commonly use larger numbers. Now, when we talk of these larger numbers, or when we use these larger numbers to measure some quantity, for example, if we are talking about distance, we say that distance between two cities is, let's say, some 700 kilometers. So not only the number 700 defines it alone, you also need an unit to define the distance. For example, to define the distance, we used a unit like kilometer. Now, when we talk about units, an important concept comes into picture, and that is conversion of units. Now, there are various units available to measure any quantity, whether it is distance, whether it is weight, whether it is volume. So to measure any quantity, we have certain specified units. In these units also, we have smaller units, we have larger units. Smaller units to define smaller quantity, larger units to define larger quantities. For example, let's say we talk about the distance between two cities, Bangalore and Chennai. And let's say that the distance between these two cities is approximately, they are not very near, right? So the distance is huge. It is not the distance between your house and your school, which might be quite near. Now, since you are measuring a longer distance or a larger distance, you need a larger unit. Now here we have so many units, and we make use of the bigger unit, that is kilometer, and we say that the distance is approximately 600 kilometers. So that's just an approximate number. So that's how we define the distance between two cities like Bangalore and Chennai. Now you might ask, so why do we really need to have so many units? Yes, we need them, because not every time we are measuring such big distances. Now sometimes we also might need to measure say a very small distance, maybe the thickness of a page. Now the thickness of a paper that is like really thin, it is very small, that distance is going to be very small. So that is when we make use of smaller units like millimeter. So now these are the variety of units that we have, and depending upon how much big or how much small the number is, we can make use of each of these units. And these units can be converted from one unit to another. Let's say 600 kilometer. If I want, I can write 600 kilometer in terms of meter as well. So it is just that 600 kilometer would mean 600 into 1000 meters, basically this much meters. Similarly, if I want to write the same unit in millimeters, we can even do that, just that the number will become very huge, and it is very difficult to remember or to write such a big number. And that is why we make use of bigger units instead, so that the number remains small. Like here, the number is just 600, but the unit is kilometer, which is a bigger unit. So basically we are defining the same quantity but in a more convenient way, right? Okay, so now the important concept here is, how do we convert from one unit to another? So that is another important thing that we will learn here. So here the units that we have are milli, centi, deci, meter or liter, deca, hecto, kilo. Now how do we call these units? Now let's say that when you are measuring length Length would mean maybe distance, height, width, anything that will all come under length. So when you are measuring length, your unit would be meter, and in that case this becomes millimeter, which is written as mm. This becomes centimeter, which is written as cm. This becomes decimeter, this is meter, this is decameter, this is hectometer, and this is kilometer. So that is how your units are. Now let's say you are measuring volume, which is in liters. So in that case your meter becomes liter, and therefore this becomes milliliter, centiliter, deciliter, decaliter, hectoliter, and kiloliters. Right? So similarly, when you measure weight, then you measure in terms of grams. So you have grams, you have milligrams, you have centigrams, you have kilograms, hectograms, and so on. So that's how the unit varies depending on which quantity you are measuring, whether it is volume or it is length or it is weight. So that varies, right? So now the question is, what about the conversion? Now, even before conversion, you might ask that how am I going to remember so many units, milli, centi, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilo? So how are you going to remember this series? Now it is very important. Now it is not only important to remember the names, it is also important to remember the order, because this order is very crucial. If you remember the order, you will be very easily able to convert from one unit to another. Because that is our final agenda, that if I have to convert some amount from kilometer to meter, how do I do that? Or if I have to convert something from milliliter to kiloliter, how do I do that? So in order to do this conversion easily, it is very important that you remember this sequence: milli, centi, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilo. So how do I remember this? So for that, let us make use of a memory tip which will help you to remember this. Now this is something which is very relevant to children of your age. Now, if I ask you to remember or memorize this milli, centi, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilo, that might sound really boring and difficult to remember. Now instead of this, you can just remember this sentence, which might be true for a lot of you. McDonald, I'm sure all of you know what McDonald is. So McDonald is the most dearest to happy kids. Now, do you think that this is an easier sentence for you to remember? Yes, I think so, because McDonald's is a favorite to a lot of you. Now, if you remember this sentence, it is like McDonald, MCD, is the most dearest to happy kids. So here M is for milli, centi, deci, meter, deca, hecto, kilo. And that's how you can remember the units, because if you remember K will remind you of kilo. H will remind you of hecto. M will remind you of milli. So McDonald is the most dearest to happy kids, and that's how you remember milli, centi, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilo. Now you know these names. It is just that you often tend to forget the order in which they are placed. And why is it important to remember the order? That's because if you remember the order, so we know that the smaller unit is at this end. So milli is the smallest unit and kilo is the biggest unit. So this is basically arranged in an order. So milli is the smallest. Next is centi. So centi is smaller than deci. Deci is smaller than meter. Meter is smaller than deca. Deca is smaller than hecto, and hecto is smaller than kilo. So basically kilo is the biggest of all of these and milli is the smallest of all of this. So since it is arranged in an increasing order, so it is important to remember the order. Now let's come to the conversion. Now every time you want to convert something from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, let's say you want to convert something from centimeter to decameter or centimeter to hectometer. So basically you are moving down, right? So from up to down. So whenever you are moving down, what you do? You need to divide. So this is a simple rule that you need to remember. Whenever you are moving down, that is whenever you are converting from a unit which is at the top to a unit which is at the down. So if you are doing conversion from centimeter to kilometer, you are basically moving down. And whenever you are moving down, you need to divide. Now you might ask, divide by what? Again, that's an important thing. Now for every step, you divide by 10. So let's say from milli to centi. If you want to convert from milli to centi, what you do? You divide the number by 10. If you want to convert from centi to deci, you divide by 10. Now what if you have to convert from milli to deci? So you need to jump 2 steps. So you basically divide by 100. So the number of zeros increase by 1 in every step. So for every step, 1 0 is increasing. And when you are moving down, you are dividing. Just the opposite, when you are moving up, what will you do? As you move up, you will multiply. Multiply by what? Multiply by 10. And again, the number of zeros will keep increasing with every step. So if you want to convert from kilo to hecto, what you do? You multiply by 10. You want to convert from hecto to deca, you multiply by 10. You want to convert from deca to meter, you multiply by 10. If you want to convert from kilo to meter, so you will multiply because you are moving up. And by how many steps are you moving up? 1, 2, 3. So you will multiply by 1, 3 times 0, that is 1000. So you have to multiply by 1000. Similarly, if you want to convert from kilo to deci, so there also you will multiply because you are moving upward. And with what? 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, therefore 4 zeros. So you will multiply it by 10,000. So that is the concept of conversion of units, and I hope you will remember this. So what are the important points that you need to remember for conversion of units? First thing is, remember the order of the units, and for that you remember McDonald is the most dearest to happy kids. That is milli, centi, decimeter, deca, hecto, kilo. Right? Now, whenever you move down, you divide. Divide by what? Divide by 10, 100, 1000, depending on, so the number of zeros will depend on how many jumps you need to make. So if you are jumping from milli to meter, so how many jumps from milli to meter? 1, 2, 3 jumps. So you will divide by 1000 because you are coming down. So divide by and 3 zeros because there are 3 jumps. Simple. Similarly, if you are converting from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, that is if you are moving up, you need to multiply. Multiply by what? Multiply by 10, 100, 1000. Again, the number of zeros will be decided by the number of jumps that you make. So let us solve some questions in order to understand this units conversion better. Let's take a real life example. The distance between the school and the house of a student is 1 kilometer 875 meters. Every day she walks both ways. Find the total distance covered by her in 6 days. Okay, so let us first talk about the distance. What is the distance between the school and the house? The distance is equal to 1 kilometer 875 meters. Now, since we have, the distance is being given in 2 different units, kilometer, meter. So it will be convenient if we convert this into 1 unit, right? So let us try to convert this entire thing into 1 unit. Let's say we convert it into meters. So that means I want to convert this part into meters. So what I am trying to do, I am trying to convert kilometers into meters. So let's quickly remember the list or the order of the units, and the order was milli, centi, deci, meter, deca, hecto, kilo. Now what am I trying to do? I am trying to convert from kilometer to meter. So basically I am moving up. So moving up means multiply. Multiply by what? Multiply by 1, followed by how many zeros? How many steps am I jumping? 1, 2, 3. So this needs to be multiplied by 1000. So basically 1 kilometer will be equal to 1 into 1000 meters. So that is the conversion of 1 kilometer. Plus you also have this 875 meters. So this 875 meters will get added to this. So 1000 meters plus 875 meters would be 1875 meters. So this would be the distance between the house and the school in meters. So now we have the entire distance in meters. Now every day the girl walks both ways. That means while going she walks 1875 meters, while coming back also she walks 1875 meters. So that means both ways would mean how much distance is she covering in one day? 2 into 1875 meters. That is basically 3750 meter. So this is the distance that she is covering in one day while going and coming back. Now we have to find out how much distance she covers in 6 days. So therefore in 6 days this would be 6 times, that means 6 multiplied by 3750 meters, which will basically be 0, 0, 5, 22. So this would be 22500 meters. Now if I ask you to convert this meter into kilometer again, what will you do? So now I am asking you to convert from meter to kilometer. So you are coming down. So you will divide. Divide by what? 1, 2, 3. 3 steps. So 3 zeros. So divide by 1000. So when you divide this by 1000, so what happens? You get 22.5 kilometers. So this is the total distance that she covers in 6 days. It is 22.5 kilometers or 22,500 meters. So this is an example where we made use of units. Now why did we use units like kilometers? Because you see, when you write it in kilometer, the number becomes smaller. When you write it in meters, the number becomes bigger, and that is the use of having so many different units. So whenever we want to represent something which is very big, we make use of a bigger unit and smaller number because it is convenient to write smaller numbers. Now based on this, we will solve some more problems which involves bigger numbers and which also involves different units, so that we get to know that how exactly do we add, subtract, multiply larger numbers. So question number 1. Kirti bookstore sold books worth rupees 2,85,891 in the first week of June and the books worth rupees 4,768 in the second week of the month. How much was the sale for the 2 weeks together? So this is for first week. This is for second week. So for 2 weeks together, what would be the total sale? So of course the total sale would be the sale in first week plus the sale in second week. That is going to be the total sale. So the first week sale is 2,85,891 and the second week sale is 4,768. So we will add up the sales for the first week and the second week. So this is how we will add up. Now it is very important that we place the two numbers correctly. Lakhs should be with lakhs, the thousand should be in the thousands place. Again the hundreds, tens and units should be in their places accordingly. So now when you find the sum, 8 plus 9 will be 8 plus 1 would be 9. 9 plus 6 would be 15. You'll have a carry forward of 1. Again this would be 6. This would be 8, 6. This would be 6. So rupees 6,86,659 would be the sale for the 2 weeks together. Now the second part of the question says that in which week was the sale greater and by how much? Now looking at these two numbers, you have to decide which is a greater number. So this is 2 lakhs, this is 4 lakhs. So which one is greater? Of course 4 lakhs. So the sale in the second week was greater. And by how much? Now to find out how much was this sale greater than this one, we will have to find the difference. So basically we will have to subtract the first week's sale from the second week's sale. So when you subtract this, what you get is 1,14,877. So the second week sale was greater than the first week sale by rupees 1,14,877. Question number 2. Shekhar is a famous cricket player. He has so far scored 6,980, that is 6,980 runs in test matches. He wishes to complete 10,000 runs. How many more runs does he need? So till now he has made 6,980 runs and his target is to get 10,000 runs. So basically, how many more runs does he need? So you need to subtract these two. So therefore, how do you subtract 10,000 minus 6,980? So this would be 3,020. So 3,020 more runs will be needed for Shekhar to reach his target. Question number 3. Find the difference between the greatest and the least number that can be written using the digits 6, 2, 7, 4, 3. Now we have learned that if we are given a set of digits, so what is the greatest number that you can make out of those digits? The greatest number would be the one where these digits are arranged in decreasing order. That is, you write the largest digit in the beginning and the smallest digit at the end. The smallest digit would be 2. So the greatest number that you will be able to form is 76432. And the smallest number that can be made out of these digits is 23467. So now if you have to find the difference between the greatest and the least number, how would you find the difference? So let us find the difference. So the difference would be 76432 minus 23467. So this would give you 52965. So 5 lakh. So this would be 52,965. So you had 76,432 minus 23,467 is equal to 52,965. Question number 4. To stitch a shirt, 2 meters 15 centimeters cloth is needed. Out of 40 meters cloth, how many shirts can be stitched and how much cloth will remain? Okay, so how much cloth do you need to stitch one shirt? So for one shirt, we need 2 meters 15 centimeters. Now let us convert this into one single unit. Let's say we convert the entire thing into centimeters. So how would you convert meter to centimeter? So basically let's quickly recall the table, that is millimeter, centimeter, decimeter, meter, decameter, hectometer and kilometer. So we want to convert meter to centimeter. So we are going up, therefore we will multiply and multiply by how many zeros? 1, 2, 2 steps. So 2 zeros. So we will multiply by 100. So 2 meters would mean 2 into 100 centimeter. Plus you have 15 centimeters. So this would be actually 200 plus 15 centimeters, that is 215 centimeters. So you need 215 centimeters to make or to stitch one shirt. So in 1 centimeter, you will be able to stitch 1 by 215 shirts. And therefore in 40 meters of cloth. Now 40 meters means how many centimeters? That will again be 40 into 100 centimeter, that is 4,000 centimeters. So therefore in 4000 centimeters you will be able to stitch 1 by 215 into 4000 shirts. So now you divide 4000 by 215. So this would give you 1. The remainder would be 185. So you have a 0 here. So 215 into 8. That gives you 1720. So you have a remainder of 130. So now you will have to forget this remainder. So what is the quotient? The quotient is 18. That means at least 18 shirts can be made, and after that 18 shirt, so total 18 shirts can be made. Now, do you think that some amount of cloth will remain? Yes, it will remain, and that is why you have this remainder. Had it been completely divisible, in that case there would have been no remainder. So no remainder means no cloth will remain. So that entire amount of cloth will be needed for that particular number of shirts. But in this case you have this remainder which says that this much amount of cloth will also remain. Question number 5. A vessel has 4 liters and 500 milliliter of curd. In how many glasses, each of 25 ml capacity, can it be filled? So the total volume of curd that is there in the vessel is 4 liters 500 milliliter. So let us first convert it into 1 unit. So let's say we convert it into milliliters. Now 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. So if you want, you can recall it using the sequence of the units. So this would be 4000 plus 500 milliliter, which is equal to 4500 milliliters. Now the capacity of each glass is 25 milliliters. That means 25 milliliter is the capacity of 1 glass. So 4500, that is 4500 milliliter, would be the capacity of 4500 divided by 25 glasses. So let us divide 4500 by 25. So this would be 25. So the remainder will be 20. You have a 0 here. So this would be 8. So this is, you have a 0 here. So you have a 0 here. And so the final remainder is 0. So basically 180 glasses. So in 180 glasses, this entire volume of curd can be filled. So with these problems, we see that bigger numbers or bigger units are used in our day-to-day life, and that is why we are talking about handling larger numbers. That is why we are learning how to represent larger numbers, how to name them, how to do various operations on larger numbers.
I hope you found this video useful. In the next video, we are going to learn about estimation of numbers, where we will also talk about rounding off of numbers, and that's a very important concept. So stay tuned.